The likelihood of me crying at time of the Doctor. I don't even like Matt Smith's Doctor, and I didn't even cry one bit at the end of time, so the likelihood of me crying in this is very slim.
1 hour later.
Matt Smith! Please don't go! No, please! Don't! Please, Matt! Don't go! Please! Hello guys, I'm Pickles Parker, and today I will be giving you my review of the Doctor Who episode, The Time of the Doctor, the swan song for Matt Smith's 11th Doctor. Enjoy!
Now it's time for one last vow. Like all your other selves. 11's hour is over now. The clock is striking 12s.
Exterminate! The siege of Trenzalore is now begun. Silence will fall!
Clara, step away from it.
What are you? Why do I keep forgetting you?
The Time Lord has entered the trap.
You will die in silence, Doctor! All your associates will die!
Help him change the future. Do it!
The Time War will begin anew, and this world will burn.
The Doctor is regenerating! The Doctor is regenerating! Exterminate the Doctor!
If you want my life, come and get it!
The synopsis for this episode is as follows. So, there's a message throughout the galaxy being broadcasted to everyone, but nobody can decode it. All coming from this planet. The Doctor's there, and he uses the Church of the People mainframe to get him down on the planet. But he soon realises that this town called Christmas has a truth field, and inside the clock tower is the crack in time. Now the Time Lords are behind this crack, and can want the Doctor's name to confirm that it's him. Then they'll know it's safe to come through. Although the Doctor can't, as even though the Time Lords will come in peace, there's a ton of aliens right up above the planet ready to burn the planet to hell to make sure that all the Time Lords will return and will start the Time War again. So the Doctor sends Clara home and protects this town for 300 years before Clara comes back. The Doctor forgets that he's known any other life and is Christmas's sworn protector. Although saving the town from all of the different aliens up above. Clara comes back, but is then sent back from the Doctor again, and comes back to find out that he's an old man now, as he's been protecting the town for so long. The Doctor establishes that this is his last regeneration, as although he's the 11th Doctor, if you count the War Doctor and the Meta-Crisis regeneration, he is indeed the 13th Doctor, and this therefore is his 13th life, and he cannot regenerate after that. And he's dying, and he goes up with one last confrontation against the Dalek mothership, before then being handed a new regeneration cycle by the Daleks, by the Time Lords, thanks to Clara's pleading, and wipes out all the Daleks, and then goes into a TARDIS, and after fabulously emotional speech from Matt Smith regenerates into Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor. The thing I love in this episode is the music from Murray Gold. He already composed The End of Time, and it was going to be quite hard to top that in terms of music. And although in The End of Time he composes some glorious new tracks, whereas in this episode a lot of the tracks are reused from other stories. Although I would be a bit annoyed by this, like in The Day of the Doctor, it kind of bugs me that all the music is reused because some of the music doesn't really fit and you can tell it's reused. But in this, I think the music works so perfectly that you just can't argue. I think especially the music when Matt Smith is regenerating is so good as well. It may be reused, but it fits so perfectly that I don't care. Although on the official soundtrack, Matt Smith's regeneration is called Trenzalore / the long song / I Am Information, which is technically all the 3 of the tracks. Although the tracks are wrong, it should be Trenzalore / Infinite Potential / The Sad Man with a Box, and really it should actually be called something different rather than just the tracks like When the Doctor Was Me or Raggedy Man Goodnight. But the music in this episode is really good, especially in Matt Smith's regeneration. Now, I always love the beginning of this episode, where it just shows you the panning shot of the planet, and then you hear the message, which I really love, and you have Tasha Lem narrating it. And then you have the Doctor going into the Dalek ship, being shot by Cybermen, and Clara trying to make the Christmas dinner. I think it's a really cool, effective opening, especially the part with the message and Tasha Lem narrating it. I think it's a really good start to the episode and instantly invests you. So we have a Christmas dinner with the Oswalds, and it is nice to get to see a bit more of Clara's family, because we never really seen them before, and we don't actually see them after this, although it is quite nice. Although the scenes could have been longer, I think we need to keep the focus on the 11th Doctor, as this was his final story. I love Matt Smith's interaction with Clara's family as well. Now we have the church, the papal mainframe, and it's a good idea. I think they're referenced across Series 6, I could be wrong. Yeah, I think they're good. You have Tasha Lem, who was quite a good character, although she does feel like a bit of a recycled River Song. But I think she's a decent character, and you can believe her to be ordering around this church. I like how the parts of this church that then split off from the Kavarian chapter. I'm always a bit confused why the silence here. And when Clara asks who the Silents are, the Doctor doesn't say, yeah, they're the Silents, I've battled them many times. He just says, oh yeah, they're priests, which is a bit strange. I'm not really sure what they are doing there. But we have the Silents cameo, which is when they're up against Clara. And I'm not necessarily a fan of this cameo, mainly because it defeats the whole idea of the Silence. So Clara's just there and the Silence comes up to her and she looks away and she forgets, and then she sees him again. But she's like, oh yeah, I see you, then I forgot you, how does that work? But that's not how the Silents work. Just if you forget them and then you look back at them, you don't remember that you forgot them. That's the whole point, how they work. It only worked with Amy in The Impossible Astronaut because she had the woman who kept on forgetting to play off of, whereas in this case it doesn't really work. So we have the Weeping Angel cameo, and this is another cameo that, like the Silence one, is very short and feels like they're just shoved in there. Although the scene with the Weeping Angels in the snow is a perfect setting, we just don't see enough of them, and we don't see them after this. Seeing as they are on the poster for the Time of the Doctor, I kind of wish that they would have been in it a bit more because they feel kind of wasted and they're just here because they're here. Although when the Clara says, "Oh, don't worry, it's only stone, it's only a statue," and the 11th Doctor just looks, and that is a perfect look at the camera from the 11th Doctor. It's just brilliant. Although the cameo is ultimately wasted, I think they could have explored this much more with the Weeping Angels, as the snow is definitely the perfect environment for them. Although the Doctor then takes off his wig, which is a kind of a nice way to actually kind of like say that he was wearing a wig the whole time, because Matt Smith was having a very bad wig day. If you compare this to a previous episode, the day of the Doctor, and look at his hair, it's so obvious he's wearing a wig, and in the scene with the Christmas dinner, his wig's sliding everywhere. So it is a bad wig day for Matt Smith, as obviously he had cut his hair off for another role. But this was kind of a nice way to sort of say that don't worry that the wig was sliding everywhere, he was wearing a wig anyway. Which was a nice way to kind of conceal the errors that way. So the Doctor and Clara visit a town called Christmas, and I really like that this is kind of like a nice idyllic town, always snow, a town called Christmas. Although it being Christmas is kind of like a shoehorned element of Christmas, I personally quite like that it's called Christmas, something out of the ordinary. It's just a nice little town, which makes it more hard to believe when you realise that this is the same place that's the name of the Doctor with all those graves. And I like the truth-filled idea. I think it's a really good idea. It could have possibly been explored more, but then there wasn't quite enough time in this story. The crack in time returns, which I'm really happy about, as it was in Matt Smith's first episode, and it's now in his last. I like how we get flashbacks to the 11th hour and Flesh and Stone, and it's revealed what's in room 11 in the Gold Complex. Although I don't really think the crack should have been in room 11 in the Gold Complex, it should have been the War Doctor, because he said who else, not what else. So yeah, but I think it's really nice we get the flashbacks of the cracks. I think it's a really good involvement of the crack just to be there. And again, Matt Smith just turns when he sees that crack there. And Matt Smith has really good looks at the camera in this, which like he's all joyful, and then just turns a serious look where he sees something. So I really like the involvement of the crack there, and the fact that the Time Lords are behind it just gives it more of a part to play in this episode. So, yes, Clara is sent home, and I think it is kind of a direct rip-off from the Parting of the Ways. Like, it's done practically in the same way. And I think it is done better in the Parting of the Ways. So I think that makes it more of a rip-off. Although it is obvious that he would have to send her home, and the Doctor's doing the right thing. And the scene is still good, and the scene with her back with her family is good also. I just feel it is a kind of a direct rip-off from the Parting of the Ways. Now the Doctor becomes the protector of Christmas for all these years, which is something I really like. It's not like the end of time. You don't have to go out saving the world. You just have to save this one town from facing destruction, and the Doctor becomes the town hero, and he forgets he's lived any other life. And I really like this element that it's just like, it doesn't have to be big, and a universe saving thing that the Doctor does to end his life. Just a small thing to protect this one town. And I just really love it. I think it's a really beautiful idea from Moffat to make it that the whole Doctor's final days is something very, very small, rather than something very, very big. And I think that the fact that the Doctor says everyone gets stuck somewhere, and then the fact that the Doctors are stuck there, and he chooses to stay there to protect it, which I think is really good. It's a really nice idea from Moffat and something different to the other regeneration stories we've come accustomed to. Huge array of monsters in this episode. I've already mentioned the Silence of the Weeping Angels, but we have the Cybermen, the Daleks, the Savine, the Pteroleptils, and I kind of wish they did have as many people in it, as many monsters, sorry, as they're not all used correctly, and I think I kind of wish they would have just chosen one enemy that was trying to get there, like they would have just chosen the Daleks, because I think also all these spaceships in the sky kind of just is a bit like the same as the Pandorica opens, and as they don't all get equal screen time, I would kind of wish that they would have just choose one villain instead of trying to cram every single villain in, and it just didn't work. Although the Daleks and Cybermen I think are good in it, I think people like the Sontarans, which their cameo is just awful. I just don't like what the Cybermen do, because the whole point of Strax is that because he's a stupid Sontaran, he's supposed to be the bad one of a bunch. Not all the Sontarans are like that, yet these two Sontarans seem exactly identical to Strax and they're both stupid. So that kind of ruins that point. And I just think that is the worst cameo out of all the monster cameos. But yeah, the Daleks and the Cybermen are good that they're there, but the rest, I just kind of rather they weren't, or if they were just mentioned to be there, but didn't just have half-hearted cameos. Now we have Handles, and I really like him as a character, and I love when the Doctor gets stuck and Clara visits him back and it's been 300 years, and this is the only real person the Doctor's had to talk to, and you can really see that scene on the rooftop when Handles is going to die, and you can see the raw emotion in Matt Smith's performance. And Matt Smith is absolutely brilliant in it, and it actually makes you feel emotion for a Cyberman head. And Matt Smith's performance just sells it, because you can see that he's been stuck here, and this has been the only person that he's had to talk to is Handles. So you can see the raw emotion that he's feeling for this Cyberman head. And I think it's a terrific scene, which really makes you almost cry for this Cyberman head that you've only just met in this one episode. So yeah, really good scene with a great performance from Matt Smith. So, prior to this episode, a ton of the 11th Doctor's plot lines had not been resolved. Who blew up the TARDIS? Who were the Silents really? What was the deal with the question? Doctor Who? All these arcs, like who was really behind everything, that all needed to be tied up. And they did a good deal in this episode of doing that, just passing references to tie up plot threads throughout the whole of the 11th Doctor's era was really good. Obviously we find out that the Kavarian chapter broke off from the Papal mainframe and went back across the 11th Doctor's time stream to try and make sure he never came to Trenzalore. Which is they first tried to blow up the TARDIS, that didn't work, and then they tried to get Riversong to kill the Doctor, and that also didn't work. So I really like that. Now we get the Winter of the Doctor, and that is a cool scene where you see all of these monsters attacking. It looks really bad, explosions, but then you see the Doctor, for some reason, fighting alongside his old enemies, the Silents, to kill all these enemies, and it's a really good scene. But then you also sense, as with all this collateral damage being done, that it's a step closer to what we see in the name of the Doctor and what Trenzalore has become. Now I really like the concept that when the Doctor is really, really old, and he's losing it. Like his memory's fading, and you can see that he's really old, yet he still has to protect this town. It's really heartbreaking to see Matt Smith, this youthful 11th Doctor, has now become this old man. And the makeup is absolutely brilliant to make this age 11th Doctor, but Matt Smith's performance as this old 11th Doctor sells it completely. And if you didn't know that Matt Smith was a young actor and that there was clearly makeup on him, you probably would just assume that this is just an old man, because the makeup, the makeup. But Matt Smith's performance is so good that he completely sells it. It's confirmed in this episode that Matt Smith is the final regeneration of the Doctor, and that he is the 13th Doctor, really. Now, I'm a bit on the fence with this. Although I absolutely love that they resolve it in this episode, that they do it with Matt Smith's Doctor, as it seems perfect to do this and wrap up this 13th the 13 Doctors saga, especially the episode after the 50th, as a good homage to the classic series. Although in doing it they had to count the Stolen Earth Journeys and Meta-Crisis regeneration, which nobody really counted. Although I do still think that it works as a legitimate regeneration, I don't think it would have worked if they would have just done this with Capaldi, as I think it works better with Matt's Doctor. And it's clear that he's clearly, as the Doctor's always getting younger, and that's why Matt Smith's Doctor was so young, because he was the last one. So I think it really works well with Matt Smith's Doctor, although how they got there in having to do it, counting the Meta-Crisis regeneration, although it works, I'm still really not sure how I feel about this to this day, though being given 4 years to think about it. Now, the rooftop scene where the old Doctor is on the rooftop shouting at the Dalek mothership is absolutely brilliant. Matt Smith's performance is brilliant, where he's like, "Don't tell me the rules," and he's swinging his walking stick about, which he absolutely loved. And he's saying, "Regeneration number 13 gonna be a whopper," and then he goes and he stretches his hand out like that, and the regeneration comes in really explosive, and then he takes down the whole Dalek mothership, and it's an absolutely brilliant scene where the Doctor, although he's aged, he's given his last bit of energy to wipe out all the Daleks. I think it's really good in the last scene of his life, as he thinks that they obviously get to the new regeneration cycle. I'm glad that it just appears, the crack disappears and appears in the sky and gives him the regeneration of the gold energy and goes in his mouth, rather than the Time Lords physically come down and give it him. I think it might have been a bit distracting, a bit over the top, but I like the way they did it, and it was a really good scene. Now we get to regeneration, and this is an absolutely beautiful scene. I absolutely love it. My favourite regeneration scene, top notch, no competition. I think Matt Smith's speech is absolutely beautiful, and it is so well written. I'm gonna say it, I think this is the best thing that Moffat has ever written for Doctor Who, is this speech from Matt Smith. It works as from the Doctor's point of view as well as Matt Smith's point of view, and it tackles regeneration in the best light, as well as giving a speech about real life as well. And it's so good, and Matt Smith's performance is phenomenal. One of, if not the best performance from a Doctor in this scene. And I struggle to watch this scene without crying, honestly. It makes me really emotional inside, because this is my favourite Doctor, my first Doctor, Matt Smith, leaving with such a beautiful scene with what Matt Smith's doing with the line, "I always remember the Doctor was me." And it's almost like Matt Smith saying it, like this is him, that he won't forget one line of this. And then we see Amy, which is good. I like it that it's just a hallucination and we don't have to actually spend 20 minutes visiting all the Doctor's companions. We just seen Amy. It was just a hallucination in the Doctor's head. It makes sense. The first face this face saw, and then he takes off the bow tie, which just gets me, and he drops it on the floor, and there is the siege regeneration, which I would like to have been a bit longer, but I think it kind of catches you off guard, because you're not ready for Matt Smith to go, and then suddenly it's Capaldi. One thing I would have liked for a scene, which isn't a criticism, is when obviously he's no longer the Age Doctor, he's gone back to his younger self, and he changes back into his Series 7B costume. I would have loved, as he's doing a reset, just that he would have changed back into the original tweed, although he didn't, which isn't really a criticism, that's just what I would have liked if they would have done. But that's just like a sort of add-on. But no, he regenerates into Capaldi, and then Capaldi just looks, and Capaldi's face is so different, like that look, and Clara's so shocked. It's very hard to believe that in this Capaldi, he sounds so Scottish compared to what he actually was in this series, and I kind of have mixed feelings about this scene with Capaldi. Although I think it's ultimately better done and better handled than Matt Smith's first scene in The End of Time, it is kind of incredibly similar to that scene in The End of Time, although I like the whole thing with kidneys, and I think it's ultimately better played than what is done in The End of Time. So Matt Smith scene is absolutely beautiful, the best regeneration scene. I cannot praise it more highly enough. Makes me almost cry every time, and then obviously, boom, it's Capaldi. So, onto the cast, and the first one up, the 11th Doctor, played by Matt Smith. Oh my god, Matt Smith's performance in this episode is absolutely phenomenal. He is giving his all. One of Matt Smith's best performances, up with his performance in the 11th hour, with the best performances from a Doctor. It is just absolutely phenomenal. He's absolutely great with the comedy and with the serious moments, and he completely sells as the Age Doctor. He has brilliant moments, he makes you feel emotion for handles, and he has great chemistry with Clara. His performance in the regeneration scene is absolutely stellar. I cannot praise Matt Smith enough. Up we have Clara, played by Jenna Coleman, and although I didn't really like her prior to this, and I didn't really like her after this, I still think she's absolutely brilliant in this episode and puts in a really good performance, and she also makes you feel emotion when Matt Smith's about to change. I just think she puts in a really good performance. It's one of the only times where I really like Clara in an episode, but I think she's absolutely brilliant in this. We have Tasha Lem, played by Orla Brady, and I think it's a very good performance. I think she's pretty good as a Mother Superior, although she does feel in dialogue like a recycled version of a River song. With the dialogue, I think her performance is ultimately quite good, and it's a nice addition to the 11th Doctor's final story. We have Clara's dad, played by James Buller, and he's not in it much, neither are all the Oswalds. He's probably my least favourite out of all of them, mainly because he feels very generic, really, though he doesn't get that many lines. Linda, played by Elizabeth Ryder, Clara's stepmom, I presume. And you do get the vibe that she is a stepmom. Again, she doesn't have that many lines, but she has more to say than Clara's dad. And I think she really does, you do really feel like she is the stepmom, as Clara doesn't really like her. But then again, not many lines. Bran, played by Sheila Reid, and she is probably my favourite member of the Oswald family. I think she's really good, and her when she's speaking to Clara, I think it's very believable that she's Clara's gran, and I think she's really good and is a really nice addition to Clara's family. And we do actually see her again at the beginning of Dark Water, but I think she's a really cool character and a really nice the member of Clara's family. I kind of wish we would have seen her more like we seen Jackie and Wilf and Brian of all the other companions' families. I kind of wish that this Clara's gran would have appeared more. But yes, a good performance of my favourite member of the Oswald family. Voice of the Daleks and the voice of the Cybermen. Obviously voiced by Nicholas Briggs, and I think he's kind of had an off day. I'm not really a fan of the Daleks' voices. I admit I love the voice from the Dalek Mothership, but when the individual Daleks are saying things on the People mainframe, I think their voices sound really weird. But the Cybermen are voiced good by Briggsy. I'm not really a fan of those Cybermen voices, but I think he voices them pretty good. Although the Daleks' voices are a bit off, I love the voice of the Dalek Mothership. He does put in a good performance, although I think you're still recovering from Matt Smith when his emotional speech that you don't see it coming, it's bam into Capaldi. I think Capaldi's performance is really good. Again, I'm a bit on the fence with the scene, but I think Capaldi sells it, and he definitely makes you want to see more of his Doctor. So, my score. Now, I absolutely love this episode. Although I think it's a mixed kind of opinion episode from it kind of splits the fandom, I absolutely love it. I think Matt Smith's performance is phenomenal. I think Clara's performance is also very good, and I think the whole idea of it is great. I think it's one of the best regeneration stories. I think Matt Smith's scenes are brilliant. He sells the emotion from Handel's dying, he sells being an old man, and he sells regeneration. Moffat's writing is good. He completely describes regeneration as it should be described, and his writing for the regeneration scene is brilliant. Matt Smith was my first and favourite Doctor, and to see him get such a brilliant send-off is just amazing. I can't watch this episode without almost crying. I'm going to give this episode my first 10 out of 10.
Who is that? I'm the Doctor. You may be a Doctor, but I am the Doctor.
I am your future self.
Sunglasses, they're sonic. Indoors.
Come back alive.
Be here when I do.
I will stop you. I will stop all of you.
Please like this video if you have enjoyed it, and if you want to see more content from my channel, then please hit subscribe. And goodbye. Hello, Garen Adams. So, the Edge of Destruction. I'm kind of split on this, because while I love the Brink of Disaster, I'm undecided on the Edge of Destruction. The Edge of Destruction is boring, in my opinion. I feel like it's kind of a classic version of the 10th Doctor story Midnight, but not done as good, with fewer characters and just set in the TARDIS. They don't explore the TARDIS, and I don't think that acting is that good apart from Hartnell. I think the only intriguing thing is the doors opening, but nothing other than that really intrigues me about it. Now, the Brink of Disaster is another story. I love the friction and the ties between the characters. The acting is outstanding from every single one of the original TARDIS team, especially Hartnell, and even though the way it is resolved is a bit of a cop-out, I just love the Doctor's relationship with all of the characters. I think it's a really nice character piece on this whole TARDIS team and the relationship. I love the end as well, how you see the Doctors actually formed a really nice relationship with Barbara and Ian and made up for what they did. So while I don't really like the Edge of Destruction, I do love the Brink of Disaster. I'm gonna give this episode a 6.5 out of 10. See you guys next week. Who are you? You know who I am. Ho ho ho, I'm Santa Claus, of course. The Runaway Bride and the Age of the Damned, and our next Doctor. Part 1, A Christmas Carol, The Doctor, the Widow and the Wardrobe, and the Singing at the Time of the Doctor, Last Christmas. The Husband's Proposal, Turn of Doctor Mysterio,